Of course, now the magnets. Do you foresee any other use or some sort of new thing you could do with magnets, or some other type of interface that we could, that people could bring into the human body to enhance their senses? You got your eye on anything?
Yeah. So the magnet is the easiest thing that you can think of. The next steps are all very complicated because there's not many other just like easy.
Yeah, the magnet is very easy to implant, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Very, very easy to implant. There's no electronics involved. We are starting to experiment with other types of implants. So one of the things that we're doing is we're figuring out how to handle powered systems, because if you're for a permanent implant, you don't want it you can't have an open wound to the world.
No.
And so if you need power in the system, you either have to put a battery in, which is
what about these? I know that's a problem. The power. What about those inductive powering up devices? Have you seen? You know about those, right?
Yes. So that's actually what we're starting with, is an inductive powered system.
Okay.
So as kind of a test to see how a test system. We'll be putting a row of LEDs underneath the skin along the arm, and then an inductive power system in the wrist, and then you'll wear we'll try and make it as stylish as possible, but a power source, you'll wear it on your wrist, and then it will light up the LEDs.
Light up the LEDs from underneath your skin, is what you're saying.
From underneath the skin.
Sure.
Yeah. And so that isn't that's not a sensory one, but we need to get the power system worked out before we do anything else.
Sure, and that's a simple way to test out the power system.
Right.
Okay.
There's a really interesting piece of work. I can't remember who did it, but it's fairly easy to find on using Google.
Okay.
A group that built a belt where they have small vibrating motors around the belt, and then a compass in it. And when you turn, when a motor faces north, it then vibrates. And so as you're walking through your world, you're always getting
knowing which way is north.
Right. So you're always being subtly told which way is north.
Right. I just read about that. It was just in the news last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago. I thought I read about that.
So that's something that's something that I'm very interested in. It will probably be the next step.
Okay.
So there's.
But that's not.
Analogous to that.
Was that wasn't implanted though? That was just a belt.
That was on the belt.
But it's something that you might be able to implant.
Yes. If the power system works out nicely, then we'll design an analog to the north belt and do that. One of the concepts that I'm interested in is the kind of cognitive, the way you think about something that is part of you versus an external artifact. Because some people have pointed out, there are other ways that you can sense magnetic fields. Just for starters, you could tape a magnet to your finger, and then you wouldn't have to go through all the trouble of surgically implanting it.
Right. I wouldn't think that would be.
Point. What's that?
Oh, I wouldn't think you'd be able to feel it in the same sense that you feel it with the implant, but I suppose you could just put any kind of piezoelectric, sensor on there that would buzz when you're near a magnetic field. Right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Yeah.
So the thing that I'm really interested in response to this is the world is very how to put this. The way that you cognitively handle things is very different if it's something that's outside of your body versus something that's internal. The most interesting things that I observe using the implants that I have are things that I wouldn't have known to go look for, or wouldn't have thought to go look for. Things that surprised me.
Okay.
Like if there's a magnet, like like a fridge magnet, I feel that it's like, yes, there's a magnetic field there. That's not necessarily interesting. When you have an external object that you have to pick up, turn on, etc., in order to use it, you don't observe as much.
No.
Because I can't turn my implant off.
Yep.
And so I observe a lot of things that I wasn't intending to observe. And so because it's a part of me,
It's a
I'm
lot.
always using it.
It's a more fulfilling experiment. It's more in depth.
Right.
That way. Right.
Right.
Yep.
And it feels more intuitive because it happens like a couple times a day. I now have kind of an intuition for kind of for like how people place things that draw off magnetic fields. Because a lot of it is, feeling things that people don't think that I can see, like, power supplies and stuff like that.
Right.
Like power supplies have throw off a lot of electromagnetic waves, and so I kind of have an intuition for how those things are ordered in the world, and I wouldn't have that if I had to pick up an external artifact and turn it on every time that I wanted. Every time that
You
I
wanted to
use it.
perceive, what was around you as far as magnetic fields. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Right.
I want to move on here to another subject that's of interest to many members of the Immortality Institute. That's cryonics, and I know you worked full time for Alcor, and you still work for some other cryonics organizations. And I imagine you got into that with your neuroscience background, and I just
Yeah, actually the first reason that I was got involved in cryonics wasn't necessarily because of my neuroscience background.
okay.
But rather, when I was starting off school, I wanted to be a doctor.
Be a
And
doctor,
so when I was in high school, I took nursing classes and EMT classes in the evenings. And so I went towards research. I never actually went to the medical field, but I worked as a nurse's aide and as an EMT for a number of years. And so Alcor needs people who have some level of
Medical background.
medical expertise,
Yes.
medical background, and Alcor's procedures, especially the first 15 minutes of the procedure, which are the most important. They use a lot of medical equipment.
Oh yeah.
And so I was originally hired for them as a consultant to
Develop
to do
the
field work.
okay.
When a member was having health issues, going to where that person was and actually doing the procedures out in the field, and for some time I was the co-leader of the Southern California field team.
Field team. Okay.
And so I would go into the field and perform Alcor's procedures, and then do the transport back to Alcor's central facility, because in order to get a decent cryonic suspension, the procedures have to start as soon as you're pronounced legally dead.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into it. And then after I graduated, I didn't want a boring job, and so then I went to Alcor.
Alcor,
and I
which
worked more on the development side.
and that's definitely an exciting job in a field that's just starting out. From now, I mean, most of us, some members are, signed up for cryonics, some are not, some are interested, and you've been kind of inside the cryonics industry now. I just want to get your feel for how things are going. It seems as though the procedures and the protocols are pretty well established, And right now it seems like the biggest challenge is getting the best